Okay, what's going on, folks? Hopefully usually with live streams, the AC doesn't make as much noise. I notice when I'm recording through Wondershare, sometimes it does pick up the AC going in the background. But anyway, to cut to the chase here. Excuse me. Oh boy. To cut to the chase. I'm gonna put out the series of videos called How the Balkans Will Save the US of A. Which is basically just a clever way for me to get around the idea of balkanization in the United States. And I give my case. It probably will be a weak case, but I give my case for can balkanization, or at least in my view, can balkanization save the United States? And I give my reasonings. They aren't that good necessarily, but I gave my reasons. And I gave kind of my general idea of things. Like I say, is it brilliant commentary? No. I thought it was kind of brilliant at the time, and I kind of spouted my BS opinions. But you can take them as they are. I'll put it that way. You can take my opinions as they are, and you can feel as you want to about them. And I don't know. I think that's about all, really. I would just say, okay. I did want to do this as a prelude. So should we be reluctant about wanting revolution or wanting balkanization or being involved in a civil war or whichever insurrectionist type words we need to use? And I would say yes. Of course we should be reluctant. That doesn't necessarily change our resolve or change our resistance to what is going on currently. Of course not. But should we be reluctant about wanting to do it? Of course. Like I say, I've been an edgy boy, and I will continue to probably be an edgy boy. And do my little let's do some funny, meme videos and stuff like that, of course. Because that's just who I am to a point. I've been destroyed. How's it going, Army Ball? I was just going to say, basically, should we be reluctant about a revolution in the United States? And I think, yes, we should be reluctant. We should be reluctant to a point. But that shouldn't slow down our resolve or our wanting to change things one way or another, The thing is, I say, when I talk about revolution, I just say, look, you're going to join who you want to join. And you're going to make your choices. This is what I've always said. Now, you can call me a wimp for saying that. You can call me a cuck. You can call me pussy. And I'll just say, yeah. Yep. All the above. I am a coward. So what? But the thing is that you catch this feeling. That feeling is in the air, as they say. The feeling that things are not going to go well for the United States. Now, of course, like I say, you can be the edgy LARPer like, Jason Unruh in a video he did a few weeks ago where he's like, well, I want the United States to collapse, because it helps my position or whatever. It's imperialist core, all this type of thing. To me, I don't really fully believe that, just because the United States goes away, that everything will be hunky-dory. I don't believe that. I believe the game doesn't change. It's just the players. Ultimately, that's my view of things. And if you want to say that's negative or you want to say it's undialectical or whatever, you can go ahead and say that. But yeah, Cultured Thugs said he thinks that fascists can only get in power through populist politics. He said he has seen too many movements sit around and wait for a civil war to break out. All right, give me a moment, folks. Hello, goodbye. There we go. All right. Oh, thank y'all for catching that on the mic there, folks. Okay. But yeah, that is true about Cultured Thug. I think the thing is that he's older as well. That has to be put into perspective. He's older. He has kids. So it's a whole different thing. Everybody always forgets that Europe exists. Unless the EU collapses, liberalism will continue. I agree with CT. Okay. You are free to have your opinions, and I'm not going to change them. You go ahead and believe what you want. No problem. Exactly. Unless the EU collapses, liberalism will continue. This is something I said in the first video, and I said it in a very, very uneducated way. But basically, I said that Europe has been through so many different revolutions, and Europe has been through so many different wars. Whether it's the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, and I know some of that is the United Kingdom, but the Punic Wars and Napoleonic Wars. The borders have shifted to and fro throughout the history of Europe, and I think that the United States overall has been free of that in a lot of ways. In general, apart from minor little things like and I say minor, relatively speaking, but things like the Whiskey Rebellion or these very larpy separatist movements where it's like, oh well, California is going to break off from the United States. Not anytime soon. Or Texas is going to break off from the United States. Not anytime soon. Texas was its own country. Yeah, but how successful was it? And it's a whole lot of other issues there. But I'm going to put out these series of videos talking about balkanization and how it could save the United States, and how the autonomous zones, I say in the first one, autonomous zones, I think, will become more of an issue. I think. And of course, I think that, ultimately the cathedral, I'm going to use some big words now because I've read a little bit of Mencius Moldbug. I've read some Mencius Moldbug, so now I'm going to act like a big brain nibba. But, I think that the cathedral as it is not going to allow something like Chaz to operate again in the future. But I think it's going to be another form. I think that autonomous zones, China will win. Yeah, I feel that way right now. Yeah, how that looks and how will America lose? I mean, it's like, I have no doubt that China will win, but how will America lose? That's the real question, at least to me and for a lot of Americans. How is it going to look when America loses? Now, of course, like I say, I'm going to the extremist side where it's just like, balkanization, secessions, and land is going to be ceded to Mexico or ceded to Russia or whatever the case may be. Who knows, right? Who knows? But I wanted to put out those series of videos. I think, like I say, the first one is basically talking about kind of the vague notions of, autonomous zones will continue on and letting them win to a point and saying, maybe that'll wake people up and realize, oh, shit, these so-called anarchists don't have the best interests for me, and that'll help people to organize and mobilize. Like I say, that's probably a long shot. That's probably a pipe dream. Like I say, I recorded it nonetheless, and I put it out there. The second one, I forget what it was about, honestly. I just record these, and I run my mouth, and then I put them out. But the second one, which is going to be coming out here later today, I can't remember what it was about. I think it was more about how things would look in an autonomous zone, I think. And then the third one was basically about the game doesn't change, it's just the players. I just gotten through watching a documentary on Felix Dzerzhinsky, and I used a clip of that. It was from a very cheesy Russian documentary, and they had dubbed it into English. But English. I'm sorry. Oh, Americans. But yeah, the third one was basically just, the game doesn't change, it's just the players. And that regardless of what happens with secessions, there's going to be some policies that will stay. I don't think that, for example, the generally accepted accounting principles that are used in the United States, what is being discussed currently. Basically, what I'm talking about is I'm putting out a series of videos, and I'm using this kind of as a kind of an explanation for those videos, basically. So I was talking about segregate, separation and secession in the United States, and how overall, what's going on, Mongoose? But yeah, Basically, it's just the game doesn't change. Like I said, the last one is just about, but basically the whole overarching idea is just the game doesn't change. It's just the players. And ultimately, the idea that, yeah, the United States could break up, but the idea is that, yeah, gap is still going to be there. I imagine that some constitutional laws are still going to be there. So I don't think secession or some balkanization will be as bad as people say it will be. And I think that, you do have to at least keep the masses happy. And I think I remember reading this a little bit in State and Revolution. But, basically even Lenin is saying, hey, we can't completely get rid of, the holidays that, the proletariat uses. I don't know. The proletariat, I know that term is loaded and it's kind of anachronistic to today. But I think in general, it does have some value. But I think that, they're not going to get rid of Thanksgiving. They're not going to get rid of Christmas. They're not going to get rid of all. It's just the idea behind it and the structure, the framing of Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be a different framing compared to how it is now. But to get rid of them completely is not going to do any good. It just has to be. It has to be shown in the proper context, But really, I should have made that more of a segment. I didn't even think about talking about that, but I was just kind of more la-di-da. But yeah, how's it going, Mongoose? Man, I appreciate that. I know I've been seeing you on the the Constantine commentaries, premiere videos, and everything else. Like, yeah. I think really, that's basically all I wanted to say. I just want to kind of put this out as a feeler. You can't red pill the normies. The thing is, I'm not really concerned about red pilling them. You just have to get them to understand the basic ideas of what we want. And, that doesn't mean red pill them that they have to know about every single thing and, worry about whatever cleaning up spilt coffee. Oh, were you laughing at my LARPing? But yeah, all the holidays today are pure commercialism. Yeah. Yeah. Benedict or BoomerCons. Yeah. Like I say, I've kind of moved on from red pilling. I'm sounding very, very highfalutin here, but basically, I don't think red pilling people doesn't really matter. Once again, this is kind of why Lenin and the Bolsheviks succeeded. You can't, if they get hungry, lose their livelihood. People don't care about ideology much, but they do when they when they want a stable food supply and shelter. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. Yeah, that's what the Vanguard is really for, having a vanguard of the red pills leading to the non-red pills towards the thing, basically. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to get at, but thank you, though, Songun Policy. I appreciate that. Yeah, basically that's why the whole idea of the Vanguard exists, is that, yeah, as long as you have a group, as long as you have, a small group, maybe even 1,000 or 2,000 people, that, yeah, Christmas has almost nothing to do with Christ now, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, basically, as long as you have a small group of people that can simplify the ideas, it's kind of like, dare I say it, I'm going to make this may be sacrilegious, but I'm going to say it nonetheless, is the idea that, you can have 12 apostles that are going to teach the word of Jesus Christ. If you have a small vanguard of people who can teach the ideas in a simplified way of talking about, of preaching whatever you want them, what you want people to believe, then, who cares? I mean, it's the same type of thing, maybe, dare I say it, once again, I'm going to go with the more spurgy idea, but it's like the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. The whole idea of the 36th Chamber of Shaolin is that you can have ordinary lay people, learn Shaolin martial arts without, having to become a Buddhist, without having to, abstain from sex, without having to eat meat, and, have all the strict Buddhist codes. But you can learn, Honga, or you can learn, how to use weapons or whatever the case may be. That's kind of the idea. Now, of course, like I said, was that reality? It's a whole different type of thing. History, the history of Chinese martial arts is kind of muddy, to say the least. But that's a whole different thing. But I think, that's why the Vanguard works. And it's kind of good. You know what? Let's go ahead and slam Vosh. Why not? Let's go ahead and slam Vosh. Where he's like, I'm kind of against the idea of the Vanguard Party. And, the Bolsheviks, they didn't really do things. Yeah, but guess what? The Bolsheviks won. Once again, this is kind of what I did in the response video yesterday, where I'm like, the Bolsheviks won, buddy. Because they locked out the Kerensky parliament. They kept folks out. And they said, hey, we're taking over. The Bolsheviks were the smarter ones. And I know post-Nazbol Judaism. I know you just got through reading Moldbug's recent article. Let me see if I can pull that up right quick. Let me see here. Let me see. Did I put it on here? Gray Mirror. Persuasion in the Mensheviks. Here we go. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for anyone who wants it. It does have some good stuff in there. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat here, I think. There we go. We'll go ahead and drop that in there. Okay. That way, if anyone wants to read that, you can. It's Mencius Moldbug. I know some people may say it's cringe or whatever, but yeah. Vosh is just a useful idiot. He will be the first in line to face against the wall. Yeah. Not only did the Bolsheviks win against 14 countries on their own, they also took mankind to the stars. Yeah. Gulags get the gulags. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, I mean, that's the whole thing. And like I say, I think that to a point, I can agree with Mencius Moldbug to a point, but I think that the idea that he tries to say, we can try to make peace with the Mensheviks, and then he, talks more about this guy, talk about reform, and that idea is kind of messed up. But to me, the Bolsheviks were much more pure about it. And they just kept a low-key, low-profile until they did get power. And then they came out and they knew what they wanted. Whereas the Mensheviks kind of played around. They were like this and that. I mean, you can say what you want to about Yuli Martov and how Lenin liked him and all. I've seen that stuff go around. I'd have to look more into it. But the thing is, ultimately, it's like, look, the Mensheviks were just soaked ends. The Mensheviks were just leftovers of the Second International. Maybe that's a bit wrong. But that's my opinion. And, of Karl Kautsky and this sort of, let's be soaked ends and try to, change things that way and everything. So Bolsheviks had, the right idea. They were like, yeah, we came in and, they had to have barracks communism, which lasted until, the 1920s or 30s, I think. And it's just like, yeah, America needs gulags. Changed my mind. You may be right because, yeah, gulags weren't as bad. American prisons are just used for money. You're trapped in there. You're trapped with all these other folks all day long. I can't imagine being in prison. I've never been in prison, but I think that I've heard enough about it where it's just like you're just asking for trouble. People getting shanked and, the drugs are going back and forth, commissary. It's a fucked up thing, but I can't, but that's not necessarily up to me. But yeah, Mensheviks could have had a good thing going on, but they managed themselves so badly. Oh, yeah. Send it to Alaska. Well, who knows? Alaska may go to Russia. Who knows? But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, that's some, yeah. Gitmo is also fucking horrible. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have no doubt about that. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, things do need to be changed in terms of prison. But the thing is that when you hear these folks like E. American Johnson or these anarchist types or these ANCOMs, and you're like, well, we need to do away with prison. We need to do away with the death penalty. I don't know about that. I'm not on that. We're not on the same page. We'll put it that way. It's like, yeah, prison reform, okay, but the idea that we're going to get rid of capital punishment, yeah. When America collapses, the Navajo will get their own state, probably. Yeah, I mean that's probably the same thing with Comanche and with the Creek, the Squamish tribe in Washington State, all over. The Cherokee, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that would probably be the case. I saw a video from Comanche Nation up there in Oklahoma, and they got some land back. They got like 75 acres back. And of course, man, it's so sad because you see, these guys, and of course, you can tell that they've lived their whole lives in Oklahoma. So they're just like, well, we got to do, we got this land back and everything. And then you got the guy saying the prayers in Comanche. And it's just like, and then he's like, oh, Lord God, this and that. I'm like, oh boy, but yeah, prison should be forced labor. That may change things. Yeah. Instead of keeping people inside a little box all day. And I know prison isn't completely like that nowadays, but still, I mean, but yeah, there's a lot to be reformed. There is a lot to be reformed. But really, I just wanted to kind of put this out there. Like I say, you can think what you want about these videos. I mean, I can critique my own stuff and say it's not brilliant. It isn't. I mean, in a lot of ways, maybe mediocre. And I honestly, I'll be dead honest with you. I think you shouldn't have prisons be privatized. Yeah. But you know what I will say, though, is really, I think that the why I put out this video here is because I saw Julie's video on nationalism, and I kind of wanted to put my own spin on it. It may not be a great, series of videos, but I think that, there's something there. I'll admit I have my, I appreciate that Sungun policy. I do. This channel seems interesting. Yeah. And like I say, I think that I will say this to you, Sungun policy, is I do have my elements where I am a little bit reactionary. But I'm slowly trying to change that a little bit. And at least trying to listen. It's like I like Caleb Maupin to a point. Some things about Jason Unruh I'm okay with. I live in Texas, so I'm not going to be able to see too much hardcore leftism where I'm at, apart from like the bigger cities, which I probably won't get to because I'm too broke. But that's a whole other thing. So let's see these other comments instead of me just blandly talking about myself here. Mandatory military is important too. Keeps people loyal to the group. Globalism is a big problem. Not that everyone should be 100% isolationist. That's true. That's true. I think that, definitely having people at least in the army for like a year and a half to understand, seeing at least different parts of the country. It's like even with Germany in the Second World War, I know, just bear with me. They had the Großdeutschland division, which means, in this case, it meant Greater Germany, where they recruited from all over. Because before that, it was like, okay, we're going to recruit from, Baden-Baden. And this is going to be the Baden-Baden division, like the 7th division or whatever the case may be. Großdeutschland said, okay, we're going to recruit from everywhere. And of course, anyway, but that's kind of the idea. Yeah. Homeless people. Okay. Yeah. Homeless people will often commit minor offenses so they have somewhere to sleep. That is a testament to the fact we need reform. Yeah. I have no doubt about it. Yeah. Internationalism is better than globalism. Okay. All right. Like in Vietnam, we don't just train for war. We do civil projects and assistance while in service. Yeah. That's kind of like... Oops, sorry. I should have just done that. Okay. That's kind of like the whole idea behind the National Guard. And kind of the idea behind the Army Corps of Engineers. But of course, I mean, that's a whole different type of thing. I'm just saying... That's kind of the idea behind it. Of course, the Corps of Engineers only go out for the real big stuff, and in general, you don't see the United States Army going out fixing roads and everything else. You don't see, because they just want to be sappers, and they want to be, they want to be high speed, low drag, and blow stuff up, and in other countries, and they don't want to have to build stuff, But yeah, that's kind of how I feel on things in general. I think, that's basically all I had to say, really. I don't know, is there anything else y'all want me to talk about? Yeah. Every Roman soldier wasn't also an engineer. Yeah. I think we should balance, I think we should balance nationalism and globalism / internationalism. And international without the support of nationalism leads to national masochism and bourgeois globalism. That's true. That's true. There was a Hoarders episode I watched where the local army regiment, not sure if that's the right term, came to help this guy out. He was a veteran, by the way. Oh, okay. I wanted to be the first kid in my block with a confirmed kill. Yeah. Social nationalism and internationalism do not contradict each other. Yeah, I agree. You should be proud of your country, but also realize that there's a bigger world. And I think that's hard for the United States in general. I know I'm speaking from an Americentric context, but I think that there is truth to that. That's why the whole idea of white nationalism is cringe. I'm just going to put it out there. The idea that's like, oh, well, all white people can get along. No. It's like if you go to Europe, it's not like that. There's French nationalism. There's, German nationalism, or Germanic nationalism, or, whatever the case may be. That's why the idea of pan-Europeanism is cringe. It's like, yeah, maybe pan-Germanism has some point to it, or maybe some, but it's ridiculous. The Finns and all that. It's like, I've been online enough to understand that it's ridiculous, And it's like even white folks in the U.S., you think we all get along? Hell no, of course not. So that's why I think balkanization in the United States will be a better idea. Yeah, it is decent, but exclude Denmark from that. Okay. Like I say, I'm an American, so I don't really understand all the ins and outs. Other than people like Julie, I don't really understand all that. So I'm just a low IQ American. What can I say? Stalin's expansion policy was great, in my opinion. Yeah, the thing is that he wanted socialism in one country, I think, in general, and also, even then, they did keep some identity. I'm not going to sit here and carry water for everything Stalin did, but I think in general, countries like Bulgaria and Hungary and Romania were able to keep their identity to a point. And of course, like I say, that didn't really happen, and I know, but I think with the United States, we've all just been destroyed by globalism. But before that, I think we were destroyed just by standardization of capitalism. And what I mean by that is basically we're going to have a McDonald's where you can have, where you can go to McDonald's and it'll be the same burger that you'll get in, let's say, Worcester, Massachusetts. It's going to be the same thing in Oakland, California. It's going to be the same thing. And that sort of standardization created a lot of laziness, and there wasn't much difference, So it's like, you can have it's like, when you have a po' boy down in Louisiana, let's say, it's not going to be, you're not going to have you're going to call it a submarine sandwich in the Eastern Seaboard, Oh, I'm from Denmark myself. Oh, okay. And we have cultural differences from Germany. True. I don't know all the history of that. I'm too American. I wish I understood Denmark more, but I know that, what was it, in the 19th century? I know that y'all broke. It was during the time of, I'm just going to stop there because I'm just going to, we have more in common today with Norway than Germany. Okay. I'm not going to, I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I'm not going to make a fool of myself, but I figure I will put those videos out, and I would love to see your comments on those 3 videos I'm going to put out. Like I say, I can't even remember what the second one was about, to be honest with you. I really can't. I remember that I put on some dance music, and I did that. I filmed it like a week ago, and I can't remember. Yeah, not too educated. Yeah, exactly. We aren't. I mean, Americans, I see these folks on Twitter, and I'll see the Europeans or the Hungarians more specifically, and you'll see them typing out about, bruh, what's this, it's like we're Tuvan or whatever, and you'll see all this, the history and whatnot. Americans be like, oh, we don't know, Americans, we can't even get World War II straight in our heads, There are very few people who really understand all the history of it. It's just, so I wish that we, even in America, that we could learn more, not only about the negative parts of history, which America has a lot of, the United States, but it's like also the good aspects that existed, within your local state. A lot of the time, like I say, Texas is more complicated because, there's an oversimplification, to say the least. And a lot of the time, and I've heard this take before, and it is true with American education, where it's just like, okay, you need to learn about, it's just that you were taught enough to know how to do a job. So, you are taught enough about history to know how, your basic history, but that's about it. It's like, I remember that, a big thing is when we were taught about, the Nazis, of course, is my pink triangle. And it's like, oh, pink triangle gang, and it's like, but people don't understand on a bigger level. It's like, they were triangles for communists. They were triangles for, that was just the way that you did. Yeah. Under my rule, you will see improvement. In fact, I will force schools and the news to tell the truth. Yeah, that'd be good. Can we adopt domino theory but to stop capitalism? I think you could. Yeah. I think you could definitely. You could definitely put out some more that the United States pushes global global homosexuality, this and that, and pushes transgenderism. Oh yeah. I mean, you could definitely do that. I mean, you could definitely push that sort of propaganda. Once again, I mean, I got 2 other books by Bernays. I did Propaganda. If y'all could see through the playlist, I read through the whole book of Propaganda. It's a pretty short book, but I should read through History or Crystallization of Public Opinion and not public affairs. I cannot think of it, but anyway, Edward Bernays did have some good stuff on that. Walter Lippmann as well. He had a book on propaganda and really wrote about those things, and learning how those folks, how they did that, and how people like Edward Bernays were able to influence, the United Fruit Company, Chiquita and all that, from undermining freeing these countries from U.S. imperialism in the 1950s, and learning how they undermined those socialist or not even socialists necessarily. These were just folks that wanted their country back, from U.S. imperialism, didn't just want to be puppets. But yeah, using that sort of propaganda, I think, in a different way, and undermining America is going to be a key thing. But I think that's already being done to a point with China. China is definitely a rising financial power. I'm being very careful here. I'm outlawing being part of the rainbow community and abortion. Yeah, there you go, base. I was going to say, what was I going to say? Basically, what I was going to say is you can use that sort of propaganda. I think that China is a rising financial power. In terms of military power, they aren't using it as much. Other than, what we've seen in the Indian-China border wars. But I think in general, I'm almost going a little bit too American patriotic, so I'm not going to do that. What I will say is, in general, is that, yeah, China is a vastly growing financial power, period, end of story. What do you think of all the American dissident right people moving into one state so we can get ourselves a seat in Congress? No. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't really like that idea, Armball, the idea that dissident right people moving into one state. No, I mean, that's just, number one, I mean, Fed gang, the feds are going to get you. This is why I'm just going to say this. I don't like the idea of the National Justice Party. I think that's cringe. I think the idea is like, oh, we're going to go third party. Third party is a waste of time in the United States. It is. It is completely useless, whether it's Mug Green Party or Mug Libertarian Party. That is ridiculous. It is a waste of it's a waste of time. It's a waste of a vote. I'm just going to tell you. Because the thing is that there's only two sides of the menu, Republican and Democrat. And the thing is, even if you want to be like a socialist party sort of person, you have to go in the Democratic lane. You have to use Democratic, structures to be able to get voted in. That's how it works today. There's only two lanes, Republican and Democrat, in the United States currently. And maybe when we do get maybe a European style thing, where hopefully it doesn't become like Germany, where you have like 30 parties or something like that. Yeah, And Republican or Dem, liberal or super liberal. Yeah, basically. It doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat, because ultimately, I think I heard this from a speech from, I'm going to plug in the laptop here, so just give me a moment. Basically, is whether you want it fast or slow. Basically, do you want change fast or slow? That's basically the only difference. With Republicans, you're going to get it slow. With the Democrats, you're going to get it faster. But yeah, I think I've pretty much said my piece on that. Like I say, you can go, please, I welcome your critiques of the 3 videos. I figure I would put those out because I think that, I think there's some good stuff in there. If I may pat myself on the back a little bit, I think there's some good stuff in there, but I think in general, there's plenty to be left over. Kind of like with all my videos. It's like, do I think that my videos are bulletproof? No, of course not. Most of the time, I'm just ranting and raving. I don't really like having a script to read from other than like reading a book. But in general, I shoot from the hip. And, I see if I can make it work. Oh, boy. Let me see here. I use some music. Oh, yeah, because I use the bluegrass. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to let that go. Okay. But I think that's about all I have to say, really. I think I've said my piece, folks. I think I've said my piece. But I do want to thank... which channel? Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the video I uploaded. There's a copyright claim. Usually the copyright claims don't really matter. I mean, because I'm not monetized. I don't plan on being monetized. They're probably not going to want to monetize me, so I think that's okay. But yeah. Seth is pro-life gang. China seems to be using state capitalism. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's just this channel. I mean, but yeah. But yeah, it's this channel, Uncle Ho. Yeah. It's this channel that uploads those videos. But yeah. That's about all I have to say, though. I will thank Sun Gun Policy. I'm pro-death, mandatory abort. Okay. All right. Pro-natalist gang. Okay. Like I say, I'm not going to sit here and get into... I let the chat just talk at this point. I used to have Glosno as a mod, just be safe. But it's like, y'all can ban each other yourselves now on YouTube. So it's just like, I'm just going to let y'all talk. I mean, for me, I'm ranting and raving in general. And sometimes it makes... Because I saw your second one. Yeah, that's true. And that's just a backup. I went real spurgy and I got like a lot of other channels. But basically, Uncle Thomas 2 is going to be... Once I get, I'm going to upload the short videos. How it works on YouTube, at least for now, is that you put the shorter videos up and you leave them up for a while, and then you can slowly build up to where you can put up videos past 15 minutes. And then you can put out like the hour-long videos, this and that. But yeah, I think I've said my piece, though. I think I have. You're a gentleman and really on the ground. I love your channel. I'm excited for your videos. Well, I appreciate that, Sungun. I appreciate a Dane getting involved. I don't know that much about Denmark. I do know, I think that y'all had a big, I know that, I think that you were, you know what, I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to make a fool of myself. I need to look more into Denmark, and I'll put it that way. But yeah, so I do want to thank Sungun Policy, Union Army Ball, Uncle Ho, Union Army Ball. I think I said that. Seth Frisbee. Who else do we have in here? Or did we have? Who else? I'm looking here. Will DeMarco. Brev. Let me see here. I saw Benedict. Mongoose Man, of course. I see you on the Constantine commentary reviews. Let's see here. That's everybody else. Oh, yeah, Joseph Altrikawi. Sorry about that. But yeah, I guess I'll say thank y'all for making your comments. Like I say, for the most part, this is just, we're just talking here. We're just kind of shooting the breeze a bit and just kind of, making commentary. While I have my biases, I'll be honest with you, I try to show that I do have my biases. I have some more reactionary views, but in general, I think deep down I'm still have some lib elements in me, and hopefully I'll get rid of those. I'll dab on those lib elements and try to change things up. But anyway, I think I'll see it there, and y'all have a good rest of the day. Those other 2 videos are gonna come out, and I just hope y'all enjoy those. And with that, I think I'll keep it there. Y'all have a good rest of the day. See you later. Goodbye.